So, welcome to Beauty of Colors podcast, Kathy. It's great to have you on the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I appreciate it.
So, tell the listeners about you and your journey into writing.
I wrote my first book when dinosaurs roamed the earth back in probably in the late 90s. Um, I used to be in the concierge industry. I've actually recently retired. And in 1998, we were meeting an event planning company. And we read an article in Entrepreneur magazine, because this was during dial-up modems and floppy disks and computers that were as big as a house. And we read an article in Entrepreneur magazine about this brand new industry called the independent concierge industry. And some hotel concierges really thought, if we can bring this idea, if it works in the hotel, I bet we can bring it to mainstream America. And they did successfully. There were probably 20 of them back then in the late 90s. So my husband of 30 years and I decided, well, we've been doing more concierge work than meeting planning. And a concierge will literally do anything on Google, and as long as it's legal, moral, and ethical. That's as short as I can say it. So we flipped our company, and I created a website because we didn't have two dimes to scrape together. And don't ask me to repeat this again, but I read the Microsoft Word help file and created a website from that. Now, please don't be impressed. Seriously. The Webby Awards, it was their very first year of offering Webby Awards, and I won one because they were practically giving them away, which irritates people today because they're very prestigious today. But yeah, I always get very entertained by that. But within about 6 months, the telephone started to ring with people calling me, how do you figure out what to charge? What do you do? Because there were no books, no classes, no consultants, nothing. It was like the ultimate of self-taught. So I gave them a couple, tips. And my husband walked into my office one day and asked me that $1 million question. Why are you doing this for free? Very good question. Everything dovetailed from there. And I thought, I'm the little bird on my shoulder. My intuition kind of said, well, you should write a book about it. And I thought, okay, I'll write a book. So I wrote the Concierge Manual, which is now in its 6th edition. From there, we offered classes, workshops. It just kind of dovetailed. And I created the Independent Concierge Association because there were no associations for everybody. And I'm pretty addicted to pain. People have asked me, should I create an association? I really want to do it. My pat answer is, what's your tolerance to pain? It's really not that easy a thing. But that's why they credit me with being one of the founders of the independent concierge industry. And along the way, I started doing workshops, customer service workshops, to teach people how to be warm, friendly, and approachable when they're a concierge. But I can't teach you to be warm, friendly, and approachable if you're angry inside, because your anger is going to bleed through your body language, whether you wanted to or not. It's going to bleed through. So I had to come up with a way to temper their anger. And I kind of wanted to get rid of some of their anger permanently, and they probably wouldn't be able to leave their office or their station. And that's when I started thinking about forgiveness. And I started offering it to workshops. And that was about, 20, 30 years ago.
So, how many books have you written from that time to now?
12.
12, you said?
12.
Okay. So, are all the books on the same topic, or is it different topics? Is it on forgiveness, or do you branch out into other topics?
I've written several business books, the Concierge Manual, Going Above and Beyond. I've written some speaker training manuals, and I'm also very much into my inspirational spiritual work. So I wrote a bunch of books about that, including Rainbows and Banana Peels, which talks about my cancer journey. I'm a cancer survivor. And I also wrote The Little Bird in Your Shoulder, which teaches you how to tap into your intuition and use it to your advantage. And I recently wrote The Ultimate Path to Forgiveness, Unlocking Your Power.
Wow, what an accomplishment. So do you also have a blog as well, or do you blog about certain things?
I do. It's katharinegiovanni.com, and Katharine is spelled very strangely. Thanks, Mom. Katharine, Giovanni.com. And I've got videos and blog posts. You can get books. My newest book, the Forgiveness book, is available everywhere, but it's also on Amazon as an audiobook, ebook, and paperback. So for those of you who do not like to read, you can purchase the audiobook and listen to it.
Okay. So Katharine, what are the blogs about? Are these pertaining to the books that you've written, or is it different topics?
It's different topics. Sometimes I'll write about a business topic. Sometimes, like, I have a bunch of business topics. For example, if you want to level up your customer service right now without doing anything else, switch out your welcome for "it was my pleasure." Doing that one thing and pairing it with an award-winning smile is going to take your customer service to a completely different level. But I have inspirational topics. I have all sorts of topics in there.
So your genre is kind of like it varies. It's like really wide.
You could call me eclectic.
Okay. Okay.
For example, one of the last blog posts I just wrote is I came across a saying which we all say: if it doesn't kill you, it makes you stronger.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I really thought about this one, and I thought that's not exactly right. It's not, we can't control what life does to us, but we can control how we get through it and our perspective about it. So it's not the act itself that makes you stronger, it's your recovery.
Mm.
That's what makes you stronger. How you deal with whatever just hit you in the face, that's what makes you stronger, not the actual act.
Wow, that's powerful. So, Katharine, how can the listeners get in touch with you? And what programs and services and resources do you offer?
They can get in touch with me via katharinegiovanni.com. And there's a bunch of videos in there that explains I have a very unique take on forgiveness. Everybody teaches you that you have to forgive your pastor, your parents, your teacher. Everybody says you have to forgive that person. Nobody teaches you how. And what about the people who are unforgivable? You don't want to forgive those people. They hurt you. And every time I talk about forgiveness, everybody's thinking about that unforgivable person. And on a scale of 1 to 10, the unforgivable of being a 10 and easy to forgive people being a 1, everybody thinks about their 10. Okay, here's something you'll never hear from anybody else. You don't have to forgive the unforgivable. You don't. It may not even be appropriate that you forgive the unforgivable. There's so many other things you can forgive, like the people you rate 1 through 9. The person that just cut you off on aisle 4 in the grocery store, you can forgive that person. The person that stole your lunch out of the company refrigerator. Okay, I hope you can forgive that person. That might be a thing right now. Maybe you can't, but I would hope you could forgive the lunch stealer. The person who chipped you in the school when you were in grammar school. You can forgive these people. And as you forgive, you're going to start to feel better. You're going to start to look better. You're going to start to lose weight. There's a reason to buy my book. You'll lose weight. Money is going to start to flow. Why? Because you're not focused on the anger and you're actually able to see the opportunities and take care of yourself.
So are you saying that there are different levels of forgiveness, that if you don't have to forgive for everything, there's certain things that if you don't want to forgive, you don't have to?
Correct.
Okay. But
Let's use a very harsh example. Let's say you were sexually assaulted. You may not be able to forgive that person. Few people can. I've met a couple people who can, and I think they're gods, because that takes an inner strength that even I have trouble with, and I wrote the book on it. But there are other things you can forgive. You can forgive the bed, the table, the chair, the building. Everything in the world has energy around it. Einstein proved that energy is neither created nor destroyed. It just is, and it changes form. So what you want to do is take that energy and just flip it from a dark energy to a light energy. And what you really want to do, and I have a science chapter in the book to back up what I'm saying for all the skeptics out there. But what you really want to do is you want to get them out of your head. You want to stop thinking about them. And by forgiving the person and the energy around the person, you're going to allow that person to leave your mind. It doesn't mean they're correct, because it doesn't. And it doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. Just because I've forgiven you doesn't mean I want a relationship with you. I probably don't. But I do forgive you, and it's going to release them from your mind. So when you go on Facebook or social media and you see their name, you're not going to think bad things about them. Okay, come on, we all do that. You see their name and, you see your childhood bully and they did something horrible. You're like, oh, well, you deserved it. Karma. No, you're going to look at that person and you're going to say nothing, nothing good, nothing bad. You don't care. That's when you know you're forgiven.
But isn't when you forgive somebody, you're doing it for you, not for the person? I know you forgive, but
Yes.
sometimes you don't forget. There's a saying that says forgive and forget. There's no way you can forget something if it's in
No,
your
there's not.
subconscious mind. But the forgiveness, wouldn't it be, it doesn't matter what it is, but wouldn't you be doing it for you to kind of release that whatever that's holding or whatever that's keeping you down? Wouldn't that
Yes.
be okay? Okay.
Yes. You're doing it for you. Forgiveness is selfish. You
Mhm.
do it for you. And it's not like any recovery, no disrespect to recovery programs, but in my world, you don't have to call the person you're forgiving. It's selfish. You do it for you in the privacy of your own home. You don't have to tell anybody that you've done it. They're going to notice because they're going to come up. And as you forgive, and I want you to start with the 1s, 2s, 3s, and 4s, which is the easy people. And there's in my book, there's a whole section of exactly how to do it. There's worksheets, and I lead you through the entire process. But as you forgive the 1s, 2s, and 3s, the easy people, you're going to start to look up, or people are going to come up to you and say, did you lose weight, or do you have a new hairdo? You look good today. What did you do differently? Well, you didn't do anything. You just forgave a bunch of people.
Mm,
And they can see it in your face.
mm,
They can see it in your body language. They can feel the energy. You're not as angry. You're not walking around in a little thundercloud anymore. You're feeling better.
mm.
So you
So
do it for you.
okay. So what would you say to the people who forgive and they actually face the person who did whatever to them? Would you say that's a different form of forgiveness in order to move on, or instead of forgiving the person in your own private comfort place?
My knee-jerk reaction, and excuse my language, is to say that scenario would suck. I'm not gonna put lipstick on a pig, man. That's a Southern expression, that sucks. But if you find yourself, let's say you're living with who you classify as a number 10 unforgivable. My knee-jerk reaction to that, and I think I speak for both of us, is please move out. Please leave. Because if you're living with somebody who's abusing you physically or even verbally, please leave and go find a safer place. If you can't leave, or even if it's not a number 10 person, maybe it's a number 5 person, maybe it's a sibling. You have to see these people at Thanksgiving and Christmas and Easter and weddings and funerals. You know, you forgiving them is not going to change their personality. I know that kind of bites, doesn't it? You kind of hope that you're forgiving them will somehow change this narcissistic person. It will not. It will change you. Will they still irritate the heck out of you? Yeah, you might have to murmur my mantra under your breath 100 times during that wedding so you just don't physically hurt them. No, I'm kidding. When you see that narcissistic person, they might push a cute couple buttons because you've done so much forgiveness work and you legitimately have forgiven them. It's probably not going to hurt as much, and you will be able to turn the other cheek and walk away. What I really do when I run across, a few of my number 10s is I will listen to them and I'll let it roll off me like water rolls off a duck's back, and I'll remove myself from the situation. As I said, just because I have forgiven this person doesn't mean I want a relationship with them. If I have to be in a room with them, that's fine. I'll be in a room with them. I'll be polite. My concierge training will immediately kick in and I will be warm, friendly, and approachable. But there's a limit, and I'll leave as soon as I can.
Okay. So do you have any last words for the listeners about believing in themselves and not giving up on their dreams?
You are worthy. You are worthy to have a joyful life. You are worthy to have a great job and a great relationship and money in the bank and clean food. It is your birthright. You are worthy to have the things and be the person you were always meant to be. And by forgiving these people, starting with the easy ones first and leaving the hard ones for last, it's going to put you on the path you were always meant to be on, because you are worthy. We want you here, and we want to see you live your best life and be wildly successful. You are worthy of love. You are worthy of all of that and more.
Well, thank you, Katharine. Nicely said. And thank you for being on Beauty of Colors podcast.
Oh, my pleasure.